Greta, the options, as John Bolton just said, are very, very slim. The reality is we've got one carrier battle group in the region. That's the George Herbert Walker Bush battle group in the northern Persian Gulf. You have nothing in the Mediterranean. You're not going to get any help out of Erdogan, even though the Erdogan Muslim Brotherhood government is part of NATO. And you've got some assets, perhaps, we're not giving away too much here without saying Ali al-Salim Air Base down in Kuwait, which was used during the initial operations in 2003. You don't have the capacity today in our military to make much of a dent in what's going on. The C-130s that would have to airdrop these supplies are going to have open doors. That means either everybody's going to be on oxygen at very high altitude and you have no idea where the parachutes would go, or you've got to be low altitude and vulnerable to surface-to-air missiles. Worst of all, to go back to something John just said, and it's very important, the Kurds never received a single bullet from all the aid that we delivered. And so it's not simply a matter that the Kurds are running short. ISIS forces, or the Islamic State's forces, are better armed, better equipped because of the weapons that they've taken from the Iraqis. The mobility that they have is better. And obviously, they're wealthy. And so you've got a very, very precarious situation for up to 40 to 50,000 Christians who are now trying to find refuge, and there is none. We're not even delivering humanitarian help to places in Kurdistan where you wouldn't be vulnerable. I think it's outrageous that we've never done anything to help the Peshmerga.
Ali, I was in Erbil and Kirkuk and the whole area about 7 months ago with Reverend Franklin Graham, and at the time the Kurds were doing so well. They were so excited. They were actually helping refugees from Syria. They themselves, having been refugees in the 80s in Iran, they knew what it meant. They were building a pipeline. They were like doing really well, and now all hell is breaking loose. I mean, now it's a completely different trajectory.
Greta, I 35 days ago, I think it was 36 days ago, I was on your show, and I was in Washington at the time, and I said to you, once Ramadan starts, all the military operations are going to come to a screeching halt. It was a wonderful opportunity for us to help the Kurds at that point. And I said that after Ramadan, and here we are after Ramadan, all hell would break loose, and it has. And what you see is ISIS trying to actually consolidate Kurdistan and make sure that the Kurds are never once again a force that they have to reckon with.
So, so tell me, where are we going with this? What's going to happen?
Well, I don't want to be a prophet of doom, and I don't pretend to have the gift of prophecy, but I will tell you this. It is a very, very dire circumstance for the best allies we've got in that part of the world, Israel being the only other one that's better. And what you're about to see is the Kurds suffer devastating defeats and the inability to help all those refugees that have suddenly flooded them. When you were there 7 months ago, they were getting refugees by the hundreds. Now they're getting refugees by the tens of thousands, and we've done nothing to help. And this administration, with its lead from behind strategy, has abandoned, as I say, the second best allies we've got out there in that part of the world are the Kurds. Erdogan is no help because he's Muslim Brotherhood, and the Maliki regime in Baghdad is totally inept. Almost as bad as ours, I suppose.
You know, I'm going to take the last word on this, but when I was there, it was actually sort of fun to be an American in that part of the world, because they kept thanking the United States for all they'd done to help the Kurds. And I mean, wherever I went, the Kurds had nothing but glowing things to say about what Americans, because they had so hated Saddam. But it might be a different story tonight. Anyway, Colonel North, thank you, sir.
Greta.